What's up, everybody? Thank you for joining us for LTMB Live. We are aware it has been quite a while. It's been a few weeks now, right?
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit of time. A bad start to 2020 has held us back. Namely me. I've been sick for quite a while. Still am a little bit. Still dealing with it. It's been a rough start, like I said, to 2020, but here we are. There's a lot of things that have been occurring that we haven't had opportunity to chime in and discuss. That's unfortunate, but again, we are here, and this is Tuesday, February 11th, and we know what's going on right now, or actually what has already been completed in New Hampshire, the primary voting. And so we're going to be going through some of those results. Hopefully by the time that we wrap up here tonight, we'll have, an announcement or some kind of news of who is projected to win or who has won the
forewarning. This
primary.
is going to be an abbreviated show.
Yes, it is. Yeah. You got.
This is a quick check-in.
Yeah, it's a quick check-in. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like I said, still sick. Hopefully we can continue this train rolling every time.
But you ready though?
Thursday. But we're ready.
You locked and loaded?
Oh yeah, I'm locked in.
You back in the saddle?
Like I said, there's been some things that have been going on.
Yeah.
There's been some things that have been going on, and we haven't had a chance to.
Yeah. Hopefully we can get
comment
through this without a hiccup.
Yeah. Hopefully.
But I'm all systems go, man. I'm suited and booted. You know what I'm saying? Actually, no. I mean, that's not a really accurate description of where I'm at. I'm probably
locked and loaded.
No. Yeah, dusty and rusty.
Yeah. I get that. But like I said, a lot of things been going on. The whole
the Iowa debacle.
I was gonna go before that.
There's been so much.
Yeah, the impeachment. Yeah, of course.
The acquittal without any witnesses.
Yes, the cover up.
He fired Vindman
and his brother.
His twin brother. Yeah. Ain't that some callous, vengeful shit?
Sondland as well, or Sondland as well. Fired both of them, all three of them. I did hear that they were planning on leaving anyways, but they were planning on leaving quietly. And of course, Donald Trump doesn't want that to just happen quietly. He wants to make a spectacle of it.
And again, that's what gets him in trouble. If it would have happened quietly, it wouldn't be that much. I mean, it'd still be a story, but it doesn't look as bad. It doesn't look as vengeful. It doesn't look like he has like some sort of animosity towards individuals or individual that came forward with the truth.
Yeah, just the truth. They're speaking with the
truth.
So
he should have just let him leave.
Yeah, just
without incident.
But this is kind of like how he did his former national security advisor.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So because he was planning on leaving, and I think he had offered to resign, and he was trying to get up out of there, and all of a sudden Trump said that he's fired. So this is just what Trump likes to do. So anyway, also there's been another debate. There was a debate in Iowa. There was a debate in New Hampshire.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, we didn't get a chance to go through those. What else?
Who do you think came out of those debates, though, like on higher ground?
Well, the last debate, if we can speak on the last debate, New Hampshire, Bernie, of course, was a target, but that's kind of like every other time. Bernie's a target, but you never catch him. You never really catch him like, when he's not planted on firm ground. You like they're expecting to knock him out, but it just never works because he knows what he's talking about and he has the truth on his side. He has the true intentions of representing people on his side. So they never can deliver that knockout blow. So of course he did well, just like any other debate. Really, the question is who did badly. And I think Elizabeth Warren did badly. One, because she didn't really get to speak a lot, and that was different than the other past debates, but kind of coincides with her falling in the polls.
I was about to say, it also kind of coincides with her finish in Iowa.
Right. Yes. Ooh, bad finishing. Well, I mean, look, I believe it's a disappointing finish for her. She came in third.
Yeah.
With what, about 18% support, 18.5%?
She was seen as someone who was close to Bernie Sanders. Like vying for that top spot like Biden, which is another disappointing and sad story. And I use the word disappointing and sad in a very facetious way, because it's not disappointing and sad for me.
No. I'm not disappointed nor sad.
My man came in like, what, 4th, 5th?
Yeah. I believe it was 4th.
4th?
I believe it was 4th. Or was it 5th? No, it was 4th.
It seems like his excellent plan is manifesting. Remember, people must have listened to him. People must have listened to him,
right.
Because didn't he tell them to vote for someone else? So that shit working. It worked in the first state. You don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but it did work in Iowa.
It did, but Biden also had a very poor performance on the New Hampshire debate as well, because the first question, if you can remember, the first question was about, I believe, his poor finish in Iowa. And he just went ahead and let the cat out the bag that he expected to do poorly in New Hampshire as well, which is not something that a candidate should say on a national debate stage.
Regardless of, whether it's true or not.
Yeah, regardless.
You have to look confident. You have to look confident regardless.
You have to project strength. I'm expecting to do well. We have a lot of support out there on the ground. We're working hard to get every vote that we can. You don't want to say,
knocking on doors.
We'll probably finish poorly in this one too. Oh, it's not a good look. Not a good look. So yeah, he didn't have a good showing as well. So, but anyway, like I said, today is the New Hampshire primary to Granite State. And right now it seems as though there's about 13% of the, 17% of the vote total in. There's 24 delegates up for grabs, and it looks like Bernie Sanders right now is leading. And of course that is still very early, 17% of the vote in, but he is leading Pete Buttigieg, that's in second place, 28 to 22%. And Senator Amy Klobuchar is in third place for the moment.
That's not surprising. I think maybe she's scooping up some of Warren's lost support, maybe?
It could be.
You think so?
That could be true.
She's just the new flavor of the month?
Could be. Look, there.
And she kind of went after Buttigieg, too, during the debate.
What I realized after the debate, and we have been realizing this all along, but there is a serious push for Amy Klobuchar in corporate media. They are all trying to push her ahead. Everybody has her as a winner. She's delivering these fascinating performances on the debate stage, but it's not translating into more support. But they're trying as hard as they can. Every single debate, they say that she's a winner. She did the best. She did the best. She did the best. She's the best moderate, but it's still not working. So we'll see. I mean, this is, again, we're dealing with two of the whitest states that are in the country. And this is, I guess, a state you would expect a moderate to compete well in.
Yeah.
You would.
So, what's the best way to determine, which candidate is appealing to a diverse group of voters in such a heavily white state? We would look at how each candidate did with that set of voters in that state.
Right.
And Bernie Sanders did the best, even though it's Iowa's 5% black?
Right.
And he did the best. If you looked at those caucuses, especially the satellite caucuses, and the turnout, man, he had black people that work in manufacturing plants. Mm-hmm. He had Muslims. He had Hispanics. He had everybody.
Yep. And it was really that propelled him to attaining the overall win in terms of popular vote. We all know the debacle that Iowa was. 3 days after, that's when you finally get 100% in. I believe it was 3 days, 4 days after, something like that. It was ridiculous.
The trickle-down ballot count?
Trickle-down.
Trickle-down ballot count.
Never seen that before. It was a complete sham. It was a disgusting process.
There's a lot of things we never saw before in regard to Iowa. If you put everything together, it's just it was just too much going on.
Yeah.
There's just too much going on.
And do we want to say that it did not have anything to do with Bernie Sanders being the front runner? Is it just a coincidence? I guess that's the conspiracy theory side of me. Is it just a coincidence?
It doesn't, it's not a theory once you actually have solid evidence and solid dots to connect to create a narrative. at least a narrative that's like believable.
Right. So again, we're gonna be here for a while, just going or just seeing how the debate or how the night progresses, and who does grab the most delegates from New Hampshire. Of course, the next state to have their it's gonna be a caucus. Is gonna be Nevada, and then after that, it's gonna be here in South Carolina.
And in Nevada, the Democratic Party that is going to be dealing with, or the party that's going to be, which Democrats dealing with the caucus is not going to be using that app, right?
No, they will not be using that app. I don't believe so. From Shadow, which is an appropriate name, of course.
Man, I don't even want to get into that, man.
Yeah.
That's too deep, man.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about some new poll. Okay. So there's been a lot of talk about a new poll, the Quinnipiac poll, and this I believe came out just what was it, yesterday or the day before? And so it's showing a change, and this whole time I believe former Vice President Joe Biden has been atop the national poll as having the most support. And it's always been strange to me, I believe you as well. He just came in with the support, and it's just lasted so long, and it's just kind of weird that this guy would have so much support. I guess, and no, I'm not guessing. I know it's because of his
association to Barack Obama. That's it.
And that's it.
That's it. That's all you need.
Because he didn't have this type of support any other time that he ran for president.
That we didn't even hear from this dude.
No. So anyway, so there has been a change, and it seems that there is a new leader atop the national poll, and that is Bernie Sanders now.
Oh, so he's seen as the front runner.
Yes, I would say front runner. Officially. We've been calling him front runner for a while. Because if you take a look at his overall support, and that's including bodies.
Donors.
Yeah, contributors to his campaign. And then also overall contributions to his campaign as well. But officially, in this poll, he has taken the lead at 25% support. That's a percentage change of up 4% up. Biden is down to 17, which is 7 points down. Former New York City Mayor Mike Bloomberg is at 3. He's in third position with 15% support. And
there's got to be some poll shenanigans going on. Some poll manipulation.
We'll get into that. Senator Elizabeth Warren is in fourth place with 14%. That's down 1. And then Buttigieg is in fifth place with 10%. And Klobuchar is in sixth place with 4%. So, look, it's very good news for Bernie Sanders. It's a very good look for him. But of course, with that, we have already seen a heightened focus on Bernie Sanders already, and how the aim is to damage his campaign. We've seen that with many different political contributors on the corporate media outlets. We've seen that with Elizabeth Warren. We've seen that with Biden, Buttigieg. We've seen that all over the map. I don't know if you sent it to me, but I saw a comment on Twitter, and this is just one out of many, but saying that Bernie Sanders and his campaign is the MAGA of the left.
The MAGA of the left. A left-wing Trump. That actually doesn't even make sense. That doesn't even make sense. There's no qualities that you can point out about either of those two.
No.
Nothing. Nothing about their demeanor, nothing about their platform, nothing about their delivery at all is similar. So this is, that has to be some sort of coordinated talking point where you relate Bernie Sanders to the person that is, I guess, the easiest target to hate, and that's Donald Trump.
I guess so.
I truly don't get it. Like, there's some, I don't know, land of make-believe that exists where they're just alike. I keep seeing it, and I keep seeing different iterations of it. It's either his supporters, Trump supporters, MAGA supporters, and Bernie Sanders are the same. Or Bernie Sanders and Donald Trump are the same. Or their message is the same. I'm like, their messaging is not the same. Like, where are they getting this from?
Nowhere near the same. But they keep trying it. Like I said, it's a full court press.
Oh yes, that's a good way to put it.
Full court press, and it's going to continue because, of course, again, not only is he going to continue to do well in these primaries and caucuses, but it's you see that change. You see the change in his support in the polls as well. Like we've always said, these polls when he's coming in second, third, fourth in some polls, and it's like, really he's coming in, really, like it just didn't make sense.
So we have to wait to see like what the foot traffic looked like.
Right, and now we're getting into the actual voting, and of course that means more than these polls.
Wait, so if he's polling so well, and he's seen as the front runner via these polls, wouldn't attacking him be, helping Trump get reelected? Divisive?
Right.
Wouldn't that be saying that Trump gets, a leg up?
Hurting him when he gets to the general.
Hurting him when he gets to the general. Hurting the Democratic Party, right?
Tone down establishment.
My bad.
Tone down establishment.
He's not even a Democrat.
He's not even a Democrat.
So you can get around that.
Okay.
You can get around vote blue no matter who if you maintain that he's not a Democrat, which really is, to me, inconsequential. Because isn't Joe Manchin a Democrat?
Yeah. But who acts like more like what a Democrat is?
Isn't Bloomberg running as a Democrat, even though he was a registered Republican?
Mm-hmm. Wasn't Elizabeth Warren a registered Republican?
See, I wasn't going to go there.
Of course I was going to.
I wasn't going to go there.
But anyway, like I said, we're going to see more and more attacks on Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders is expected to win the New Hampshire primary. He has been polling very well in that state. And of course, in 2016, he defeated Hillary Clinton by over 20 percentage points, I believe, like almost 30 percentage points, I believe. I don't have the exact numbers. But he did very well. So he's expected to do very well in this state again. Now, that doesn't impress some people. Doesn't impress some people. In fact, some people believe that coming in third would actually mean more than Bernie Sanders coming in first. And who that is a woman named Adrienne Elrod, who is a contributor on, I believe this is MSNBC? Was this MSNBC or was this CNN? I can't, we'll find out. But
is there a difference now?
But she has some things to say about this New Hampshire primary.
The real thing that I'm looking for tonight is, of course, that key third place finish, which we were just talking about there in the break. Amy Klobuchar, the momentum is on her side. This would be a huge, huge victory for Amy. In fact, I would almost argue that the third place finish for Amy would be stronger and more important than a first.
So it seems like the audio got cut off towards the end, but she said she would argue that a third place finish for Amy Klobuchar would be more important than a first place finish for Bernie Sanders. Coming in third, more important. Coming in first.
3 is the new 1.
3 is the new 1.
3 is the new 1.
Just bring it up.
Bronze is the new gold.
Coming in third in a race is more important than attaining the gold. So it's a new way of looking at things.
Maybe she's looking at the glass half full. Maybe, well, actually, more like a fourth full, because that's all that's in this glass. A third full, actually. But I don't see how, she can elevate Klobuchar over the person who finishes first, whoever that may be.
Or second.
Like, why wouldn't it be big for those two people? This seems like it's kind of a tell to me, because the only reason you would kind of float this idea is to kind of preemptively get ready, or get people ready, get your audience ready for the results, or for the outcome, or for the outcome that is going to come to fruition. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, try to downplay like what is going to happen. That's the only reason why you would do that. Why would you even go there?
See, it would make a little bit more sense if, let's say, Elizabeth Warren was going to win, well, not win, but if she was going to come in second place. Then you would have the supposed two progressives that are in the race occupying positions 1 and 2. So then third would be the moderate, the centrist, the establishment candidate. And if that's Amy Klobuchar, then maybe that would be a good thing for her campaign, noting how she has not really been performing too well in polls and didn't perform too well in Iowa as well. So maybe that would be her rise to be the main moderate candidate. But I believe who's projected to win or projected to come in second is Pete Buttigieg, who is in that moderate lane. So how can you say that it's more important for her than even him?
Who has skyrocketed to stardom within the last month or two?
That would be Mike Bloomberg. Who isn't expected to really compete in these first two states. Didn't do anything in Iowa. Not expected to do anything in New Hampshire as well. But 3 is the new 1. But anyway, since we're talking about Mike Bloomberg, okay. So Mike Bloomberg is new to the campaign season. He just started his campaign a couple months ago. But he's been making noise. And like we just said, in this new Quinnipiac poll, he's in third place. This is a national poll. He's in third place with 15%. So that is a hell of a change. That's a hell of a come up. Now, how has he been doing it? Of course, he's been doing it with his own money. Mike Bloomberg is a billionaire many times over, upward of over $50 billion. I think he's worth.
But be careful. Do not, and I can't stress this enough, call him an oligarch. Don't do it.
Is that to Jason Johnson?
Who?
Dr. Jason Johnson? Is that a nod to Johnson? We'll get to that. But anyway, so like I said, it's been a notable coming up for Mike Bloomberg. But again, he's been doing it with spending his own money. How much money? This much money. Over $350 million he has spent on his campaign thus far. That's well above the other billionaire that's in the race, Tom Steyer, which, I mean, upwards of $170 million is nothing to sneeze about. I mean, that's an awful lot of money. But Mike Bloomberg has some catching up to do. And of course, he is worth more. So he said, hey, I got money to spend.
He's got a grip of money to spend. He's doing it on ads. He's doing it on recruitment. He's he's offering people a grip. Yep. A grip to work for his campaign. I've seen some crazy figures like $6,000?
Yeah, a month. Yeah, organizers. Yeah.
And also social media influencers.
Yep.
Preferably individuals with a following of 1,000 people or more. Mm-hmm. He's willing to pay those people to tweet positive messages about him.
Say nice things about
him.
Say
nice things.
Yeah, just put out the word. Bloomberg's a nice
guy. Bloomberg is the guy to elect to beat Trump. you why are you laughing?
Well, hey.
When you have to pay people to say good things about you, like kinda that.
Kind of empty, isn't it?
Yeah, kind of empty.
But if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying, huh? Ain't cheating, you ain't trying, right? And this is disgusting because this is everything that we don't want politics to be. This is money in politics. Huge, ginormous money in politics.
Like right in front of your face.
Right in front of your face. This is corruption at its finest. All he is doing is spending millions and millions of dollars to put out the word to get his name out there. Now, Mike Bloomberg was a New York City mayor. And he was the mayor right after Rudy Giuliani from 2002 to, I believe, 2013. I believe. Don't quote me on that, but I believe that's right. But, I know New York and New York City, of course, has a lot of eyes on it. It's a very big city. It's one of the biggest cities in America. So, of course, it has a lot of focus on it. So I know that Bloomberg has some type of
history,
clout, some fame to him. Not just because he was the New York City mayor, but because he's a billionaire, Bloomberg News, all of that. Of course, people know who he is. But who he is politically, I'm not sure that nationally he was that well known.
No, he wasn't.
What he would put forth in terms of policy and really what he was all about. One thing I believe that many people did know about him, the one thing that I think a lot of people knew about him nationally was his consistent support for racial profiling and the stop and frisk policy.
Yes, Mayor Stop and Frisk.
Mayor Stop and Frisk. So he was a proud supporter of this for many, many years. He and others believed that this type of policy, stopping and frisking minorities, it would lead to a decrease in crime. There was no empirical proof of that ever. Actually, the evidence showed that it wasn't effective at all. It did nothing to decrease crime, but still, this narrative persists. So we're going to show you, or we're going to play for you some audio. And this audio is from 2015, just 4 or 5 years ago. And in this audio, Bloomberg was speaking at the Aspen Institute, and stop and frisk was addressed by him. Now, the video was blocked from being released.
I wonder who blocked it.
Probably Bloomberg himself. Was it Bloomberg himself?
You think?
Yeah.
You think it was Bloomberg? I think that's a stretch, man. There's no way Bloomberg blocked this.
Maybe not, like capturing him in his brightest light. Maybe not. But anyway, we're gonna play you this audio, and we definitely have to throw out some props and some credit to Benjamin Dixon, who is a political analyst, commentator, progressive activist, and he's the one that publicized these comments, even though they did occur back in 2015. So we're going to play you these remarks and then discuss.
95% of your murderers and murder victims fit one MO. You can just take the description, Xerox it, and pass it out to all the cops. They are male, minorities, 15 to 25. That's true in New York, it's true in virtually every city. And that's where the real crime is. You've got to get the guns out of the hands of the people that get killed. So you want to spend the money, put a lot of cops in the street, put those cops where the crime is, which means in minority neighborhoods. So it's one of the unintended consequences is people say, oh my God, you are arresting kids for marijuana that are all minorities. Yes, that's true. Why? Because we put all the cops in the minority neighborhoods. Yes, that's true. Why do we do it? Because that's where all the crime is. And the way you get the guns out of the kids' hands is to throw them against the wall and frisk them. And then they say, oh, I don't want that. I don't want to get caught, so they don't bring the gun. They still have a gun, but they leave it at home.
Yeah, we've that's that same excuse for stop and frisk. We're trying to find the guns.
Yep.
Even though when they did stop and frisk at a high rate, guns were found in a very, like a minuscule amount of times. Uh-huh. A minuscule amount of times. Hard even to register as a statistic. So that just seems like a way for him to justify.
Right. And this is, I believe, 2 years after he was done being the New York City mayor. So he was still with his support of stop and frisk. Now, the change supposedly occurred, just so happens, it occurred right around the time Mike Bloomberg announced his candidacy for president, officially, back in December of last year. And he said that it was wrong.
He apologized for it. Said that it was wrong. Now, it was a very empty apology. It was short. It wasn't really meaningful whatsoever. I'm not sure he could make it meaningful because we know how supportive he was of the policy. So if you're going to have some deep awakening, first of all, it can't happen right when you run for president because that's called political expediency. We've talked about Tom Steyer in his past and how he has apologized for it. Now, he didn't make that apology and he didn't make that change right as he began his campaign for president. He made that change a decade ago. So still yet, you still would probably look at him, like with one eye closed or eyebrow raised, like, are you really for real? There would still be some question, but at least he made that change so many years ago. And since then, it seems as though he's been taking some right steps.
Mike Bloomberg has done no such thing whatsoever.
I mean, he is a billionaire. You would think if he's having second thoughts about a policy that he enforced as mayor and a stop and frisk policy that actually he ramped up while he was mayor.
Right.
You would think that he would use his billions of dollars to try to influence law in that city where he claims he screwed up, right? You would think he'd be using his wealth to try to see new laws being passed, support candidates that are against stop and frisk.
Did he do that?
The criminal justice reform.
Did he do that? Though?
Support candidates that are for criminal justice reform.
I don't
That
think-
involves eliminating stop and frisk as a policy in the city of New York. Like,
I don't think he did any of that. I think he, like you said, ramped up the use of stop and frisk because that was seen as the method to decrease crime, even though, again, there was no empirical proof suggesting that it was true.
there was actually a audio of a New York City police officer that he captured the audio because,
Right.
you remember that? You remember that?
I do. He was being reprimanded.
Reprimanded for not profiling. Dude
Right.
was like, yo, I stop everybody and I look for suspicious activity no matter who it is.
Right.
You want me to just like randomly stop people? He's basically talking about how he's basically saying that's inefficient.
Right.
Why don't you let me use my observation skills to do my job and not just target a specific group of people? And yeah, he was being reprimanded. That police officer ended up suing his department and winning like $270,000. They settled.
Yeah, they settled. I believe in the video you could hear him say that he had only arrested 2 black males for jumping the turnstile.
The turnstile.
And that was like, no, there couldn't be only 2. He's like, that's what I'm seeing. That's what I saw. That's my experience. That's what I saw. What do you want me to do?
You see how the policy actually like perpetuates itself.
Right.
Like you need to fulfill this quota. And you have to fulfill this quota unconditionally. And so a police officer naturally, whether they intend to or not, is going to probably focus on the activity of a certain group, right? And pick it out in order to fulfill that quota, even if the quota is not necessary. So you kind of falsely generate these statistics in order to justify the policy. Right. So it perpetuates itself.
And you heard Bloomberg himself saying that you could just Xerox that, just pass it around. That's what we're looking for. That's where the crime is happening. It's not. There's another video where he's being interviewed, I believe, by a radio station, and he's talking about how black or minorities should be arrested even more, and whites should be arrested less because all the crime is happening in minority communities. So I mean, if that's your belief, then of course all the crime is happening in minority communities. There can't be any crime happening in white communities. And if you send your officers only, or most of your officers, to these minority communities, that's going to be your data because you're not in the other communities to arrest anybody that is not of color. It's just completely ridiculous. You remember past comments from Hillary Clinton about super predators, right?
Yes, sir.
I'd argue this is much worse. I'd argue that this is much, much worse.
It's much worse because, like when Hillary Clinton said it, it was kind of just like a very short soundbite.
It was. It wasn't in depth.
I was about to say, this is kind of like unpacking all that.
Yes.
And he's giving
Explaining himself.
He's giving you all the goods.
So, of course, he has been criticized, very much so, because of these now nationally publicized comments. Again, this happened in 2015. But right now, of course, he's running for president. What happens when you run for president? What happens when people run for president, Mike?
What happens when people run for president? Let's say the same thing that happens when you, let's say, apply for a job, turn in a resume. They do some background checking, perhaps.
Background check, some vetting. They do some vetting, right? See if there's any troubling
Things in the past.
situations or anything
Yeah.
like that might come up and harm them, make them look bad, stuff like that. Well, if you're running for president, if you're running for office, period.
Period. Yeah.
But especially president of the United States, yeah, people are going to look into your past. And they found this. Nobody forced you to say these comments, but this is what we found. So, again, credit to Ben Dixon. But, you know, corporate media is the corporate media. And they are going to have their kind of spin at certain times when something troubling comes out about somebody that they may prefer. So, reacting to this story and to this criticism of Mike Bloomberg is CNN. There was a CNN segment in which one of the reporters, Christina Alessi, she was reporting on this and giving her overall feelings about it.
So here's the thing. Important context here. We don't have the full tape. So this is obviously snippets that have been released. The podcaster and the writer that released this sound is clearly a Bernie supporter. If you look at his Twitter feed, he's very anti-Bloomberg. He is promoting a hashtag, Bloomberg is a racist. We don't know how he got the sound to begin with. So lots of questions are being asked, especially on the timing of this. As you noted in your introduction, a poll yesterday shows Bloomberg rising in the polls and particularly strong support in the African-American community. He polled at 22%, just behind Joe Biden at 27%. So the timing here and the mission here all calling into question.
But we also know, right, Christina, that Bloomberg is going to face continued questions.
So
She's concerned with timing.
she's concerned with timing. Now, again, I think I just kind of alleviated any concerns about timing because, see, the timing is appropriate because what is Mike Bloomberg doing right now? He's running for president.
What is she suggesting? That
Exactly, what are you
individuals
suggesting?
that are running for the most important office, their past should not be looked into. Otherwise, it's poor timing.
Oh, maybe just progressives that are running for office. Maybe their past should be looked into, but not centrist or even conservatives like Mike Bloomberg.
Now, why would a corporate network, cape for a billionaire?
Maybe they have similar interests.
That's odd to me.
Maybe
Why
they
would a
have.
corporate network just kind of try to run interference and protect Michael Bloomberg, a billionaire?
Yeah.
I can't think of any reason.
The notion too that this information was sat on and unearthed at a particular time as to do the most damage to Mike Bloomberg, because as she said this information just came out at this time, and when he's climbing, when he's rising in the polls. These comments were made in 2015. All right, Ben Dixon didn't go like rummaging around or like buying people off to get this information. You know where this information can be found?
Google.
Yeah. You can look at YouTube. There is a guy by the name of Carl Hirschenroder, who is a former journalist at the Aspen Times. He uploaded the content of the entire audio of his speech to the Aspen Institute. Mike Bloomberg's entire speech. He uploaded that content over 5 years ago. He uploaded that content.
So
the full context.
So who's slacking here? So who's doing the slacking here?
Because she said that this was without context, and we don't know all the context.
We don't.
We
And
don't know
like
the whole context?
Again, the audio that came out, the audio was released. They have access to it too.
Yep.
She has access to it too.
Yep.
All of what was said, has plenty of context. It has enough context for us to come to a conclusion about Mike Bloomberg. There's enough there.
Yep.
These aren't just like little snippets, little sound bites.
Yes, and it coincides with past remarks and past behavior.
Like
of
how
Mike
do you
Bloomberg.
how do you listen to that audio and say, we don't know the context? You have to be pretty dumb. You have to be dumb. I don't even think she's dumb. I don't think she's dumb. This is intentional. This is deliberate.
Well, I think
Like if you walked up to me, right? You walked up to me, right? I don't know. You know what I like to talk about. Zombie apocalypse, right?
I do.
You know I think it's coming.
I'm aware.
If you walked in on me and your boy was just knee deep in some guts, right? Knee deep in some guts, and I was getting bitten. I was getting bitten up by these things that are obvious zombie, and I was getting bitten up. And you say, well, you'd be like, oh man, that's the first thing you do is like, oh man, because you know you gotta kill your boy. You know what you gotta do. You can't look at this situation and say, hey, I don't have enough context.
I didn't see what happened before this happened.
Is he gonna turn or isn't he? I don't have enough context. Even though you see,
I see what's going on.
you see what's going on.
Right.
You see what's going on.
I know enough information.
You know enough. You do know enough.
Yeah, she's not a stupid woman. I don't know a lot about her, but I would have to surmise that she's not a stupid woman. What I do know about her is that she is a former reporter for Bloomberg News.
So CNN, who actually didn't do their job, brought on somebody who is very, very closely linked to Bloomberg.
Yes, that's what happened. To do the initial reporting on this, to respond to the criticism of Mike Bloomberg, you brought in a former Bloomberg News reporter.
Have they even invited Benjamin Dixon, the person who's getting the most attention for this?
I don't believe so.
For his comments?
And again, all he did was publicize these comments. He publicized them. He didn't make the comments. He didn't even record the content. That was done. That was done 5 years ago, and it was put on YouTube by somebody else.
Yeah, no, I love how she mentioned something about Bloomberg rising in the polls with black people, and so I'm thinking like I don't care, like if the polls are accurate, and black people ignore how problematic Bloomberg is, I'm supposed to shut up about it simply because there may be a segment of black voters who aren't informed. So I got to be uninformed too? Like, I don't get it. I can care less what the polls say. I'm more concerned with the reality of Bloomberg,
Right.
and what he brings to this political conversation.
And see, there is that notion that he is doing well with black supporters. If you can trust the polls, he is doing well with black voters, right? And in this latest poll, the Quinnipiac poll that we talked about, in terms of black support, he is number 2 behind Biden. Biden's at 27% among black people, and Bloomberg is at 22%. Bernie Sanders is 3rd with 19%. Elizabeth Warren's at 8%. Buttigieg is at 4%. Everybody else is at 1% or lower. So there's been a lot of talk about how Bloomberg is capturing that vote. Biden, I believe, at one point was at 49%, so he is tumbled in terms of black support. In Poland, mind you, I mean, we haven't gotten to the votes yet, or a lot of the votes, so we'll see. But yeah, like you said, I guess criticism should pause, or it shouldn't even be there because he has this black support. But look, there's something to be said, and we can get into that about the black people that support Mike Bloomberg, but it's not just black people. There are people that are uninformed all over the country. Not just black people. There's white people, there's Asian Americans, there's Hispanic Americans, Latinx. I mean, all types of people are supporting Mike Bloomberg. I believe all of them, unless you actually believe in a conservative agenda. If you believe in a conservative agenda, then that's your guy. But if you're saying that you want a liberal approach, if you want a progressive approach, and you're supporting this guy, then you are vastly uninformed, and you're supporting the wrong guy.
Doesn't matter.
So something's going on.
Doesn't matter what your skin. It doesn't matter what you look like.
No, it does not matter. But there's a lot of emphasis on this black support, for
Bloomberg.
For Bloomberg.
But it doesn't mean anything for Bernie Sanders.
It doesn't mean anything. Actually, it means the opposite because, see, Bloomberg has risen above Bernie Sanders, so it's a very bad look for Bernie Sanders. Your guy, Dr. Jason Johnson, who is a frequent contributor on MSNBC, he responded to this criticism, this news about Mike Bloomberg's comments that he made to the Aspen Institute. And on Twitter, he said, This Bloomberg stop and frisk audio from Aspen reinforces my point. How bad have Bernie, Pete, Warren, and Biden performed that black voters are considering switching in droves to Bloomberg? They've nobody to blame but themselves.
You know what that's called? Stage 4 brain worms. Stage 4. Spread to its entire body.
Is he a Republican? If he's a Republican, then it makes sense. Because that's a Republican type of talking point. That's what I would expect a Republican to say. It's your fault. It's your fault.
Like, again, there would need to be some deeper analysis from JJ.
Dr. JJ.
Dr. JJ, in order for him to make it make sense.
Yes.
And there's no subtweets that make it make sense.
No, he doesn't
because
know
you
it.
would then have to, I guess, show how those other candidates, specifically Bernie Sanders, has failed in regard to what he's talking about. And that's why they're considering voting for Bloomberg in droves.
You would.
You would have to actually, also you would have to show how Bernie Sanders is losing support, right? Because it is quite possible maybe Bloomberg gained some support. I don't know. Again, we're just going to just take it at face value and say the polls are accurate. But there's nothing showing Bernie Sanders losing support for black people.
Actually, I think
only
his
gaining support.
Yeah, actually his support is
Didn't he get
increasing.
endorsed by like one of the like premier black feminists in the United States? I forgot her name. Yeah, she's the one who like coined the term identity politics. He received an endorsement from her.
I mean, look, we've talked about Dr. Jason Johnson before, and mostly his critiques of Bernie Sanders are completely unfounded and ridiculous. He has also, on one occasion, said that Elizabeth Warren has more overall donors. She doesn't have the money, but she has more overall donors, and that it's completely senseless because her average donation is more than Bernie Sanders. So it wouldn't even make sense there. But also, if you even just look at the number of donors, Bernie Sanders is like lapping the field.
This is a well-known stat.
Well known.
This is also the guy that pretty much. Oh, he didn't pretty much say it. He went after Nina Turner.
Yeah, he did.
For her use of the term oligarch.
Yeah.
In reference to Mike Bloomberg.
Yeah.
And he went and just caped for him.
Hate for Mike Bloomberg.
Said it's like
the
term oligarch is dismissive in its name calling. And I'm just like, but this dude is constantly using Bernie bots and Bernie bros, like, pejorative like that. But yet he goes out of his way to defend Bloomberg from being called an oligarch. He wants to focus on the system. That the system is the problem. And I'm like,
what is the system made up of?
What is the system made up of? So who's playing the game and who are the players?
It's just on autopilot. Nobody's controlling
Nobody's controlling it. It's just like, it's like Skynet.
Yeah, that is. Yeah.
It's like Skynet.
Yep, Skynet
Nobody
is
is
doing the most.
Nobody is trying to buy influence in that system at all.
Vicky from iRobot. Vicky, yeah.
Or what's
taking over.
What's the name of the one from Eagle Eye? What's the name of that one?
I can't remember.
You know what I'm talking about?
I know you're talking about, but
With
I can't remember.
Shia.
Yeah. I can't remember. But yeah, the robots are doing stuff. The machines are doing stuff.
The machines are doing an oligarchy without any oligarchs. Isn't that amazing?
That's amazing. That's amazing. There's another tweet by Dr. Jason Johnson as well. He says, it's amazing to me how many people on here are willing to say black voters can be fooled with slick ads rather than investigate what was lacking in existing Dem candidates that even opened the door for Bloomberg. I guess blacks can be bought is the easier narrative.
Yes. Blacks can be bought. And I think we just read a tweet from someone who is. Like, he's making it seem like black people have not been used as tools and as tokens to further a certain agenda. That's not like a controversial thing to say. Like, I guarantee you, when he talks about the Republicans' tokenism, he wants people to listen. Essentially, he's talking about black people selling out and being bought. to support a Republican or a conservative agenda. I've seen him talk about that before. This is no different.
Right.
So how come now that it's being talked about in regard to Bloomberg, again, if the polls are accurate, how come it's off limits now? He's trying to here he's weaponizing identity politics in a very disingenuous and bad faith way. It's basically saying, oh no, it's you always have to trust the perception of black people unconditionally, regardless of how ridiculous it seems. Because black people just are always informed, and you can't question it, you can't question anything. Or,
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's this is a situation where he's weaponizing identity politics, and he's just being very. I think he knows what he's doing. What he's doing. It looks like he's standing up for black people. What he's really doing is using black people as a very it's a callous shield to defend Bloomberg. It looks like he's defending black people. It's like, how dare you talk about black people this way as if they're uninformed? How dare you? When really he's just doing that.
They're as uninformed as anybody else.
He's doing that to defend Bloomberg. He's a very savvy guy. He knows what he's doing.
Look,
and he knows his audience is dumber than he is.
I said before that in politics, as much as we don't want it to be, it's a popularity contest. As much as we want it to be about ideas, about integrity, about having some kind of track record for actually doing the right thing, as much as we want it to be about all those things that actually matter to representing people, it's not. A lot of it is about image, celebrity, status, clout, money.
Who puts their face out more?
Yeah.
Right? So who's on the TV? Who do you see more? Who do you see the media promoting?
And like I said, Mike Bloomberg, like we showed earlier, has spent over $350 million on this race. So if you're more visible to the public than anybody else, it's probably going to mean you're going to have added support from those people. It doesn't matter what you're actually going to do, because of course we know politicians lie all the time. We know that they try to put their best foot forward in terms of ads and even in terms of policy positions on their websites. It doesn't mean they're about that whatsoever. Hillary Clinton, when she attained the Democratic nomination, you remember the party platform, right? Was she going to do any of that? No, of course we didn't think she was going to do even half of those things. But of course it's in there. She's not committed. She doesn't have to be committed to do it. She's not obligated to do it. Mike Bloomberg is not obligated to be a progressive or even a moderate. But he's kind of putting that message forward like he's actually going to do better for this country, better for the people in this country, when he's never even been about that. But people believe this rhetoric because of money, because of his face being in their face. So it's not, I don't even say it's so much of blacks are being bought off, but they are being fooled just like everybody else is, because of his significant wealth and his ability to use his significant wealth to project all that support, to project it to progress his status in this race.
You know what's interesting though? Just from hearing the Bloomberg audio and looking at his positions in general, he's coming off looking worse than Biden.
Oh, I wholeheartedly believe that. Wholeheartedly believe that. Biden, look, if you have seen any of our commentary surrounding Biden, we have much contempt for Biden, who he is and who he has been as a politician. Mike Bloomberg, yeah, I'd argue that he's worse. I'd argue that he is significantly worse. And even, look, we don't always hear the true ideas and the true feelings of people, especially politicians. Now, there have been some comments that Biden has made. He made those comments about the segregation of senators. That was really bad. And
if Trump goes away, all the obstacles that are that he sees now will just go away.
Yeah. It'll be more civil, and we'll be able to work with Republicans. I love Republicans. He went to campaign for a far right conservative Republican.
So did Bloomberg.
Yeah,
they have that in common.
Yeah, they do have that in common. But yeah, I mean, Biden's track record is horrible. It's bad. Bloomberg, it's worse. But Biden does not have the wealth of Bloomberg. Biden is not spending the money that Bloomberg is. So is there a chance that Bloomberg overtakes Biden in this race? Yeah, man, there's a significant chance of that. Does he get to be the, I guess, the number one moderate? Moderate. Oh, I said moderate. Who's presumed to be the moderate. Can I say that? He's presumed to be the moderate. No. He's occupying the conservative lane. But again, he's presumed to be the moderate. Is there a chance that he supplants Joe Biden? Yes. If he's willing to spend this type of money and keep that rolling, yeah. He could overtake Buttigieg. He could overtake Biden. I don't see him overtaking Bernie Sanders, though. I don't see that. You're not going to grab Bernie Sanders supporters. Because, first of all, Bernie Sanders has been in this race for a while now. And he has a track record, of course. And he has that loyal support coming from 2015, 2016. People know who he is. People know what he stands for. If you didn't believe in what Bernie Sanders was about and what his mission is about, then you wouldn't have supported him in the first place.
Exactly. You wouldn't just jump to supporting Michael Bloomberg because you see an ad on TV, right, even though his platform doesn't have anything in it that you agree with. I mean, he doesn't agree with a minimum wage increase. He's open to cutting Social Security, Medicaid, and Medicare. So, what in common do you have with Michael Bloomberg? Right. Just even in policy. But
Bernie Sanders wouldn't even obtain that support in 2015 if people weren't believing in his ideas and his platform. They would have said Hillary Clinton, she's the status quo, she's the extension of Barack Obama, it's her time. I mean, he would have never got that support if it wasn't about the ideas, if it wasn't about his idea for moving this country forward.
You know the irony and Warren supporters showing Bernie Sanders so much vitriol and his campaign so much disdain, and being, I guess, angered that Warren is not the front runner. The irony in that is Warren could have been. Because like you mentioned, how was Bernie Sanders able to amass this amount of support? What did he do in 2016 and the beginning of 2015? He ran for president.
Yep.
You don't think that elevated his visibility?
Of course.
Why did he run? Well, why did he run?
He ran because he wanted there to be a progressive that was running for president.
Okay.
We knew that Hillary Clinton was going to run. He wanted somebody to combat that, to challenge her. We wanted it to be Elizabeth Warren. Elizabeth Warren didn't want it to be Elizabeth Warren.
So Elizabeth Warren didn't want it to be Elizabeth Warren. Elizabeth Warren wanted to just swoop in 2020 and just kind of just receive all this support. For what though? Here's the thing. She could have played it well.
She could have.
She could have run in 2016 and just played hands off with Hillary Clinton. And we know that's what it would have been. It would have been a deal. They would have just played footsie with each other. Right? Just play nice. Run for president, boost the profile of women.
Yeah. And knowing who we know her to be now, that's what it would have been.
And it'd be it'll be your turn after I win. But it would actually still be her turn. Hillary Clinton lost. Yeah. But it would actually been Elizabeth Warren's turn. Right? If she would actually ran in 2016, and she would have been
seen as the one.
The one.
Yeah.
And we know Bernie Sanders didn't just run in 2016. Since then, he has been very active as a politician, trying to promote his agenda across the country, not just promoting increase minimum wage, but get involved in teacher strikes.
Right.
So he's been increasing his profile since then. And Elizabeth Warren didn't do that.
But you know what? Let's say she missed her calling. Because I believe that she did. Yeah, she missed her calling, right? Okay, she missed it. Now, 2020 rolls around. 2019, that's when the candidate started to run for president. Okay. So Elizabeth Warren announces her candidacy. And she is actually campaigning as the strong progressive that she says that she is. That we all suppose that she was, dating back to, 2015, 14, 13. Everybody believed that Elizabeth Warren was, I guess, in terms of most well-known progressives in the country, she probably was atop that list. And so she was probably atop that list for people that we wanted to see run for president. There was a lot of support from progressives for Elizabeth Warren. So if she came into this race, 2020, with that same positioning, with those same ideas, and didn't backtrack, didn't kind of capitulate to the moderate lane, I believe that she would have actually challenged Bernie Sanders in this race.
I believe the same thing. But instead of accepting that reality, we have a lot of blue check marks on social media talking about the Warren erasure. Not only erasure, but mainstream media is erasing Warren.
Wow.
I'm like, wait a second, you mean...
They did the most to project her.
I was like, they did the most... Exactly.
Yeah.
I was like, wait a second. Didn't the New York Times...
push her forward,
Didn't the New York Times just endorse both her and Amy Klobuchar?
They did.
How was that an erasure? I was like, you erased your damn self.
It's ridiculous, man. That's ridiculous.
Like most mainstream media outlets have more Warren supporters than any other candidate.
Yes.
MSNBC, especially MSNBC. Joanne Reed,
Everyone wants to
Zerlina
see-
Maxwell,
Yes.
Chris Matthews, Mimi Rocca.
But she's being erased.
I'm like,
All right. Look, like I said, it's a mess. You said before we even started the show, this is going to be much worse than 2016. This is going to be much worse. It's already started.
and I wouldn't have said that a year ago.
No, I wouldn't either.
I would not have said that a year ago.
But again, Bernie Sanders, there has to be the full court press on him because you have to stop him. He's already the front runner. He's already won in terms of the popular vote. He got one less. Was it one less or two less delegates in Iowa?
Talk about the SDE.
Yeah, I think it was two less. I think Buttigieg got 14. He got 12, I believe. But still, he's seen as the front runner.
State delegate equivalent. I forgot what that stood for a second. I never heard that.
Sanders' momentum keeps ticking up. He keeps raising money. He keeps adding new support, new contributors.
Volunteers.
Yeah, it's a well-oiled machine. And in many of the states that are to follow, which are, after now it's 48, in many of these states, Sanders is leading in the polls. So what are you going to do? Of course, you have to try to wreck this train. And it's going to be a lot of things that we see on social media, like the Sanders campaign is like the MAGA of the left.
A lot of these social media accounts describe themselves as the resistance. I do think it's interesting that almost all the resistance accounts that I follow, they're all anti-Bernie for some reason. They're all anti-Bernie. They all have some iteration of the Never Bernie hashtag or Never Bernie commentary. Right?
Yep.
I just think that's just kind of weird how coordinated that is. And this same resistance is always talking about Bernie bros and, Bernie bros coordinating attacks and creating hashtags. Like trying to say that it's false, Russian bots and stuff like that. And I'm just like, y'all are doing that.
You know how divisive it was?
Y'all are doing that.
It was divisive to be like Never Hillary, right? That was divisive. That was not only was it divisive, it was a sign of sexism. Right? But Never Bernie, that's rational.
And you know how that doesn't get any scrutiny either.
No, of course it doesn't.
Not from the mainstream. The Never Bernie doesn't get any scrutiny. It's not seen as a cult.
No. Hillary Clinton saying that nobody likes Bernie and he never gets anything done. He won't get anything done. That's not divisive. No. That's just Hillary just being real.
You know what else I noticed though, especially after Bloomberg has made a name for himself by way of his billions of dollars. I've noticed the resistance is showing him more sympathy than they are Bernie Sanders.
Is that right?
Yeah. The resistance is a fucking joke because they can't see anything past Donald Trump, right? And I think a lot of them are realizing that they're conservative and they don't want to accept it.
That's true.
The elevation of Bernie Sanders and his supporters and leftism in general, I think, is exposing liberals as actual conservatives, and they don't know how to stomach it. Because what they use to write Bernie off or disqualify Bernie is just very frivolous. Like, I'm talking about the most popular accounts that describe themselves as the resistance to Trump. A lot of them don't trust Bernie because of two main things. They say he's a friend of Russia because he honeymooned there.
Oh, gosh.
And also, he bashes the U.S. I'm like, really?
Everybody does it.
I was like, and see, the thing is, that's the conservative mask off right there. Yeah. It just kind of like slipped off.
Because that's the Trump rhetoric. You can't
bash America.
Criticize
exactly. Like it's
Colin
like
Kaepernick. Hey, you're anti-American. You're not a patriot.
Isn't that what the right wing and conservative use with Barack Obama? He goes around apologizing for America. So I'm just like, wait a second. Like Bernie is untrustworthy because he honeymooned in Russia. But these same people, these same resistors, had trust for Hillary Clinton, whose husband William accepted like $500K for a speech he did in Moscow.
That's right.
Via a Russian investment bank, but you still trusted Hillary Clinton.
Of course you did.
Had
that been Bernie Sanders?
Oh my God!
Nobody would say anything, right? Nobody would say anything.
The resistance is a fucking joke because they can't. Their resistance is just like, hey, Trump. They actually are fine with the United States as an institution, as an imperial power, as long as it's not like Trump at the helm. Now that somebody comes along who just lightly wants to test that imperialism, like lightly, not that they're against that, that's very suspicious. That's very suspicious to me.
I believe too, the honeymoon in Russia thing. If I'm not mistaken, didn't they go there? There's a sister city that's in Russia, a sister city to Burlington, isn't there?
Yeah,
I believe so.
Yes,
but no, that's nothing though. That's nothing. He's a favorite of Russia. Anyway, some news. Let's update you on the New Hampshire results. So I believe with 46% of the vote total in, Bernie Sanders is about at the top right now at 27.7% of the vote. Buttigieg in second place with 23.4%. Klobuchar is at 19.5%, and Warren is at 9.4% in fourth place. Biden in fifth place at 8.6%.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
And then Steyer's in sixth place. So yeah, that's about 46% of the vote total in. Well, I guess Biden has some of that seer thing. He's a seer.
A soothsayer?
Yeah, he saw it coming.
Nostradamus.
Nostradamus. Yeah, he saw it coming. Hey, I'm not gonna do well.
Miss Cleo.
On CNN, it said Biden is about to speak in South Carolina, which
somebody in the chat did mention that he moved on to South Carolina.
Yeah, it's a little interesting because the next state is Nevada. So a little interesting. I believe he had been atop the polls, or at least him and Bernie have been running neck and neck in Nevada for a while, I believe. So interesting that he would just go on to South Carolina. But anyway, some new news. I saw it in the chat, but yeah, I did see it. Some news reports are confirming it. Andrew Yang has dropped out. Andrew Yang has dropped out of the presidential race.
I have my problems with Andrew Yang.
Yeah.
I do. But and I think we've expressed that on the show.
Yeah.
Here and there. But we never went, hard on him. Like as hard as we go on like Joe Biden.
Right. There's been some things he has said.
Yeah, there's some things that he has said that's kind of like left us a little like confused. But I still think like he added something.
Yeah.
He added something to this presidential race. It's just because of the other people involved.
Yeah.
Just because of the other candidates.
I believe that, hopefully Bernie Sanders does come away with the Democratic nomination and he does go on to win the presidency. I believe that Andrew Yang could be a voice in the administration. I believe he could be some type of voice. I don't know if he would be an official cabinet member or anything like that, but I think he does have something positive to offer.
This and this, I just can't see Yang dropping out benefiting anyone other than Bernie Sanders. I just can't see it. I can't see it. I just can't see it. Well,
he's going to endorse somebody, most likely. And who is he going to endorse?
If you asked me that 2 months ago, you know who
it would be Biden.
It would be Biden.
Yeah, but since
because
then,
he started like linking up,
yeah.
being chummy with Biden.
Right.
But now
it doesn't seem like that would be the direction.
But isn't it interesting that he's dropping out right now, and it follows directly after Biden's poor performances.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he can't. I just think, even if he endorses Biden, like, how much would that even help?
That's not a lifeline. That's not a lifeline. I don't think that's a lifeline. I'm sorry. I mean, sorry to offend the Yang Gang, but I don't think that's a lifeline. Like you said, I think it would only benefit Bernie Sanders. I think so. And to be honest, if Andrew Yang is who he says he is, then that's the candidate he would throw his support behind. It would be Bernie Sanders. If he's true to what he is, if he's true to what he said he is, I don't see how he would throw his support behind anybody else.
Mandy Sadowski in the chat asked if Marianne Williamson has endorsed anyone. And as of the 9th of February, she hasn't. She did tweet something out. She says, I haven't endorsed anyone because there's more than one good progressive, and everyone has to vote their conscience. But I submit to my supporters that someone with no real agenda and no real vision for our country beyond a vague notion of inclusion is nothing but a corporate tool. Now, we could apply that tweet, or we could think that that tweet applies to a number of candidates. Something tells me that
sounds specific.
Specific to a candidate that has risen recently.
Yeah.
That seemed like some Buttigieg shade.
Yeah.
And to give that, I guess, speculation credence, there is actually a tweet that she responded to.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Somebody named Daniel Denver tweeted. It says, spoke to a Bernie 2016 supporter who became a hardcore Mariam stan and is now firmly in Buttigieg's camp. I tried to convince her that Pete had no Mariam energy, but to no avail. Marianne Williamson responded to that tweet and says, if you have that person's phone number, I will call them myself. So I just don't think those two tweets are disconnected.
You think there's some correlation?
I think so. She's very clever at kind of like throwing shade and making a point without like
passive aggressive, really
being like overtly divisive.
Yeah.
But you know what she's talking.
But you know the direction.
You know the direction.
Yeah. She's clear in her direction. Yeah. So, what else? Just reading some comments here. Marion won't endorse Bernie yet, but most of the squad did, no doubt.
I don't know if we're going to touch that, Moose. She asked what are our perspectives on Kobe Bryant.
Maybe on Thursday.
Yeah, maybe on Thursday, because mine is fairly nuanced.
Yeah.
It's not just something I can be like bloop, and it's. I step back from everything's going on.
Yeah, we can get.
Yeah,
to
we will talk about that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we don't.
That's a light. Well, it's not a light.
Not a light. No,
It's not a light topic, but it's
No.
not necessarily
Fierce topic.
Yeah,
with Gayle King now and the response.
Snoop Dogg.
Woo!
And here,
You know, we get to it.
we'll get to it. We'll get to it.
We'll keep going on and on.
Right. I don't want to buy. I don't want to chew on that bone quite yet.
But damn. But yeah, we'll get into that. She said, "Yeah, you guys are sports guys. Come on." No, we'll get to it. But on Thursday, we'll get to it on Thursday. All right. So it seems as though look, we're not gonna get to a point where the vote is called, or the election in New Hampshire is being called for a particular winner. 47% of the vote total, and it's probably going to take at least an hour, hour and a half more, something
Looks
like
like
that.
Sanders is maintaining that
Yeah.
that 6,000 vote lead again.
It's about 6,000 again.
It's about
That's right.
6,000.
Yeah. Just showed some footage of Joe Biden in Colombia.
It's our stomping grounds.
Yeah, I believe. Oh yeah, that's his wife talking now. I believe. Jill, I think. Yeah, Jill is talking, and
I wonder if he gonna suck on her finger at all.
too much.
I didn't do it. He did it.
I know
I'm
he
just
did it.
commenting on it.
I just don't want to think about it though.
It's like, what did he think it was, like a granola bar or something?
Oh well, so it's CNN is reporting that Warren and Biden won't pick up any delegates tonight, which is not good. You can't spin that anyway.
Wait.
That's not
you
good.
If it all depends on if she still
If
finishes
Amy
third.
Klobuchar, no. Amy
Oh,
Klobuchar.
my bad. That's right. Because that was
Yeah.
about Amy. My
Yeah.
bad. That's right.
Amy
that's right.
Klobuchar is third. That's not good. That's not good.
That's not good.
If
That's
you're
not
losing,
good
if
at
you're
all.
losing delegates to Amy Klobuchar,
Like, her whole campaign is like Amy Klobuchar's campaign is like, I don't know, like how do you sum her campaign up? Like,
G. Willikers.
what was that joke she told like 50 times over again? Like, you know, talking
About Trump, and I told him.
like, okay, here's the thing. If she told it once or twice or 3 times in different settings, okay. But like she told
over and over,
over and
every
over.
single stop
Every
she's
single
making.
stop she made.
About how I think Trump said something about her hair or something like that on when she announced her candidacy, and then I said, I'm like, dude, come on,
Yo, the thing is,
you don't want to say that once or twice and then like stop it.
well, you could say it more if your delivery gets better and you change it up a bit. Her delivery got worse.
The verbiage was the same,
It was so like,
and I said. And then she's like, you know what I told him? I'm like, wait for this. You know what I told him?
punchline's coming.
We already know, you said this before. It's like a comedian with the same material over and over and over. Televised all over the place.
Material, when somebody says material, that's like a
Not true.
a
whole routine.
routine. It's a routine.
True.
This is just one joke.
This is one joke. Telling the same joke over and over, the same way every time.
I mean,
Televised,
here's
in front
the
of
thing.
cameras.
I think some people might see that as like quirky. I still think so. I think most people will, but I think there's still a set of voters that might see that as quirky and attractive.
I've said before that corn sells. You know, one thing I learned.
Not with Swalwell.
No. See, not all.
What did he say?
Bold? No. Bold without the bold.
No, you gotta do the head turn. You got.
I gotta take it.
You gotta do the same head turn that he did. the maybe it's Maybelline or
This Mike
head turn.
said, I will be bold without the bold. Dude, too much, man, too much.
No, but Amy Klobuchar's campaign is like I don't know, like, hey, I'm not extreme. That's basically her campaign slogan.
True. Yeah.
Like, vote for me. I'm not trying to do all those
Yeah.
extreme
We can
things.
only do so much.
Yeah.
Vote for me.
That's better.
But yeah, that's a blow to. I mean, it's a blow to Warren, but really specifically Biden too, because again, they're occupying the same lane, and she's taking your delegates. Well, that everybody thought were going to be your delegates. There was one other thing I wanted to say about Yang. How the hell does Yang drop out, but Senator Michael Bennet ain't dropped out yet? Bennett still think he got a chance too. I just saw an article just yesterday saying that he's going to shock some people in this New Hampshire primary. Bennett.
According to who? According to what data? According to what poll? According to like what chatter has been in the environment to where he can say something like
He has
that?
not been discussed at all.
No, he's been erased.
But he said I believe his campaign and Patrick's campaign,
Deval
Patrick, they said that they have been in New Hampshire the most, more than anybody else.
That's right. Deval Patrick did. He put out a tweet after the whole Iowa debacle. He's like, "Don't blame me. I was in New Hampshire." So he had an alibi.
Right.
Because his name came up as far as I guess improper vote allocation.
Yep.
Some of the votes that were supposed to go to Bernie and Warren went to Patrick and Steyer. Was it? I think it was Patrick and Steyer.
Yeah. I think so, yeah.
As far as the reporting goes, as far as reporting on that, the Shadow app.
Like I said, it's still crazy that some of these lower level players have not bowed out yet, but Yang is out. That's crazy. I don't. It's absolutely crazy. But anyway, so now Biden is about to speak in Columbia, South Carolina. This has been projected to be the firewall. Remember, we heard about the firewall with Hillary Clinton. It turned out to be that firewall with
This firewall
African American support.
has turned into lava.
Yeah,
That is engulfing Biden himself.
It's not going well. It's not going well.
Yeah, he's right up the street from us.
Yeah.
He's right up the street from us. I can almost smell the malarkey. I can smell.
See, if I had a normal reaction to it, I would have fell out my seat and choked. But no, I'm not doing it. Yeah, he's fading. He's fading. It seems that look, we don't know what's gonna happen in Nevada. We don't know what's gonna happen in South Carolina. But these aren't good results for Biden.
I think that if he has a chance to come back, South Carolina is his best shot.
But is that gonna be enough? I mean, the one thing about Hillary Clinton in 2016, and really about everybody else, since Iowa and New Hampshire has been atop the primary and caucus season, if you didn't win one or the other, you didn't do anything. You didn't get the Democratic nomination. I believe that's historically, if you competed, because there have been some people that have not competed, and then they made some noise. Maybe they came in late. But if you competed, you were there for New Hampshire, you were there for Iowa, but you didn't win either, you didn't do anything. You didn't capture that Democratic nomination. I don't think they even made it to the convention.
Nah, because that's momentum right there.
So with Hillary Clinton, she did win Iowa, you know? It was a contested battle, no doubt. It was close, but she won it. She didn't win New Hampshire, but she won Nevada by a small margin again. And then she dominated in South Carolina.
It's different now, though. It's different. Like, Bernie gained on her.
Yeah.
Bernie was polling at like 2% in 2015. True. And he was able to at least compete during the primaries. True. This time it's different. He's like, he started out where he left off.
It's true. That's true. That's bad news for the rest of the field. So, we'll see. Excuse me. But all right. So yeah, about 48% of the vote in Sanders is still leading.
Oh, Klobuchar, man, this is crazy. You can't tell me this doesn't have to do with media elevation.
No, it can't be. No, it can't be.
I think
this
that,
is just Klobuchar.
I think she's benefiting from Biden's tumble.
Oh, no doubt.
She is taking up all of that percentage of votes.
Mm-hmm. I told you before. You know, in terms of debating, if you just want to talk about debating, I've said at least once or twice that who's performing better as a moderate is Amy Klobuchar. She's able to get that message out better than Joe Biden is. She's a better moderate than Joe Biden is.
I think, like, with the focus on Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, Joe Biden, and Pete Buttigieg, I think she's kind of been able to kind of remain untouched.
Yeah.
She's been able to remain untouched for like this whole presidential cycle.
True.
Because, like, she has never been the focus. She's really never been the focus.
Yeah, she's always lagged behind. I mean, she's been at all the debates.
She's been able to avoid a lot of scrutiny because she's never been. She wasn't seen as, like, in that top 4 or 5.
Really, everybody's been attacked. Bernie has stayed on the attack. Elizabeth Warren has been attacked. Buttigieg, Biden, Harris was attacked.
She gone now.
But all of them have been attacked, but Amy Klobuchar, no. Now, again, this is New Hampshire. Is she going to do well in Nevada? Is she going to do well in South Carolina? I don't think so. If a moderate is going to do well and it's not Joe Biden in South Carolina, I would have to say it's going to be Bloomberg. I don't know. You know what? I can't say. If it's not Joe Biden, we don't know how this new information about Bloomberg, about his stop and frisk comments, we don't know how that's going to resonate with people here. It should send them running from Mike Bloomberg, but we know how things work. He has the money. His face is out there. He's advertising like crazy. Maybe people just like, well, he's apologized for it. And actually, he did apologize even further. He put out a statement earlier today as to these new comments that were unearthed. And he said, I have apologized for taking too long to understand the impact of stop and frisk on Black and Latino communities. I inherited stop and frisk. In an effort to stop gun violence, it was overused. I cut it back by 95%. I should have cut it back sooner.
That's a lie. It increased 7-fold under him. He's making like he's inherited. And even if he inherited it, then, like, I hate that excuse. I hate that excuse. I inherited it, but
like, you had no agency. You had no involvement. You couldn't have done nothing. You were the executive in the city.
But you weren't even finding hardly any guns doing stop and frisk, because you know that's a lie.
There was no evidence that it was working at all. There was evidence that you were trampling over people's civil rights. There was evidence that you were racially profiling. No evidence that it was working to reduce crime, but you kept it up. The excuse, the apology means nothing in my eyes, but we'll see what it means to voters here in South Carolina, where in the Democratic primary, I believe about 60% of the voters are going to be Black. So we'll see. I have my opinions about. Yeah. And I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait.
You don't want to get ahead of yourself and preempt it.
I'm gonna wait until we actually have that primary. It's coming up at the end of this month, on a Saturday too, which is weird. I don't think we've ever voted on a Saturday. Not as far as I know.
Yeah, not me. I haven't.
But yeah, we'll see. And then after that, if it comes out a certain way, well, I will have much to say. All right, so we're at 50% of the vote, and it's pretty much the same percentages. Bernie Sanders at about 27%, beat Buttigieg 23.5%, Klobuchar at 19.5%, and Warren in fourth place with 9.3%. So doesn't seem to be moving at all. It seems to be keeping these kind of totals right here. So 51% in now, about the same.
Yang was probably looking at that and like, you know what? Yeah. Let's just call it quits, because Yang is just at the bottom right now.
It was about an hour he announced that he was.
So that makes sense. He saw those initial results and he was like, you know what? Let's call it quits.
Yeah. no path forward, I guess. So.
Yeah.
But anyway, but all right, that's what we have for you tonight. All right, we're gonna wrap this up. Not gonna do calls tonight. And then my voice is already stretching up for tonight, man.
Yeah, he's got some limited mileage on that voice.
Limited mileage
man.
on the voice, man. But let me highlight some of our contributors, our super chat contributors, and that has been out front with a message. Was worried Mike and Will started working for Bloomberg.
I will say, I did some calculations in my head. Because a lot of people were offered like $6,000 a month. He's also paying people $150
To say nice things about it.
It's probably $150 per tweet or per post.
I wonder.
It's probably per.
I wonder. I don't know how it works out, but yeah.
It was probably 100. I think it's like $150 per certain amount of posts.
Boy, I could use that money.
Yo, man,
I could use that money. I really could.
Be lying.
But damn it, I couldn't.
Yeah,
I couldn't do it.
See, the only way that you can get away with it is if he stumbles and doesn't win.
Yeah.
Because then if he wins,
No harm, no foul.
exactly, no harm, no foul. And then you like donate your money to the rightful causes. I'm like, make a clean million
True.
and then donate your money to the rightful causes.
True.
But if he wins, then it'll be like, damn, look what I did.
You'd have
Damn, look what I did.
So you'd have to take this money
Knowing.
and work for him, right? But then double your efforts working against him, like privately. Like doing some other stuff.
Yeah.
To feel okay.
To feel okay with it.
But then if he wins, good damn.
Doesn't matter what you do after that. Doesn't matter what you do with the money.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter who you support after that. Nah.
Your
See, that's why you
conscience
don't do
is
stuff
done.
like
Your
that.
conscience is done.
Yeah.
It's over for you. Gaillard Randon, thank you very much for contributing to the platform. Consistent contributor. We thank you all for showing up tonight. Like I said, we know that it's been a while. Like I said, it's been a rough start to 2020, but hopefully I will start to feel much better, and we'll continue doing this show. We'll continue being here for you throughout this primary season. I'm sure we'll have a lot to discuss on Thursday. We'll have the full results for New Hampshire. Hopefully. Hopefully.
I know. I don't see the same shenanigans happening.
No.
If it does,
Because they're rolling in right now, unlike Iowa, where they weren't rolling in at all, not even trickling in. How ridiculous was it that when they first even announced the results, they only announced a portion of them?
like 62%.
Like, why? Well, what?
That was done on Buttigieg's behalf. Like, you slowly trickle the results out, and you allow Buttigieg to, like, even without the full results, claim victory, and the media claimed victory for him.
Yep. Crazy. But yeah, like I said, we appreciate everybody joining us for tonight's program. We hope that you will be able to join us on Thursday night. Thursday night will most likely be the same. Well, not the same, but it'll probably be at regular time, 7 p.m., but we'll definitely keep you abreast of that. If there's any changes, we'll let you know on Twitter. That's usually how we communicate with people. So if you're not following us on Twitter, please do so. It's just at Let Madness Begin. It's just at Let Madness Begin. So, that's it. That's all we got.
And wrapping it up. We wrecked to go.
Again, for right now, 51%. 51% of the vote total in New Hampshire, and Bernie Sanders is leading. We expect that to continue. And best news for Amy Klobuchar because she's in third. That's the best news.
That's the best news.
She's the winner.
Because bronze is the new gold.
Bronze is the new gold. Just gotta shine
I'm just the results. I'm gonna be excited, to talk about, but the media reaction. That's what
we're gonna have to definitely kind of
dive into and document the media reaction.
How it's being handled by the media. Because breaking news: Sanders leading. At least they have that. Sanders leading, Buttigieg second, Klobuchar third. Okay, at least they're being
straightforward with their lower
fair.
thirds,
right.
Chiron.
Yeah, so
they're just stating the facts. We'll see how they spin it once, I guess, the reality starts to pan out.
Because one thing we know about corporate media is in the analysis is shit. Is horrible. And
They can spin anything.
Spin anything. But anyway, we'll be here for it, and we'll be back on Thursday. Thank you for everybody that showed up tonight, everybody that's in the chat section. Thank you to all of our patrons on patreon.com, keeping us going. All of that loyal support, loyal financial support. We thank you immensely for that. Couldn't be more humbled by that. So we are done. Have a good night, and we will be back on Thursday. All right, peace.